Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, I'm a little bit poorly at the moment. It's only a cold, but it's like bleh, bleh. So yeah, I need to do some confessional stuff. So I am going to talk about February, but in the meantime, I need to come clean. I need to come clean about my bi-monthly belief and behaviour book club. It's probably you may have noticed an absence of me talking about the book because I haven't even read very much of this yet. I've read a bit of it, and this is supposed to be the January-February book. And massive apologies to the specific people, especially that's going to be anticipating a chat next Sunday, which I moved before from this Sunday, from today, on this book, because I can't do it because I haven't read it yet. And I'm hoping to maybe read it next week, but I'm really struggling to read a lot at the moment. So I read some stuff in February, and it's not hugely embarrassing, but it is embarrassing that I haven't read this, because this is the book club that I invented myself. And I have actually sent a message to the Historathon guys that I'm dropping out of the Historathon. So there are still going to be history videos on my channel, but I can't, it's kind of stressing me out, trying to think about which bits of history I'm going to read in which months, and what, oh no, I can't read that yet, I better read that quick. And it's just, I don't find it fun having it separated into the 4 quarters. So massive hugs to the Historathon guys, and anyone that's following the Historathon event, absolutely do it. It's brilliant. History books are amazing, and there will be history content on my channel, but I've taken myself out of the Historathon event so that if I do read a history book, it's going to be random what year it's set in, what event it's talking about or what theme it's tackling. So I had to do that. It's a bit of a shame because I like doing events with other people, but then I also don't use Discord, and most of the conversation happens on Discord. So I also felt a little bit out of the loop anyway. So that's just because I really find Discord, like, it's like Twitter. When Twitter was a thing, obviously it's X now, but when I tried Twitter, you'd go on it, and if you weren't on it all the time, you'd have like thousands of things to look up, and it was just you were constantly behind, and I felt like that with Discord. So anyway, that's just a social media service I don't use. But apologies that I haven't read this yet. And when I do, I will tell you guys, and I'll have something set up to discuss it, because it is really good. But I need to read it. Okay, so that said, and my apologies hopefully being delivered. There is something I am doing which is a lot easier to maintain, and that's the complete short stories of JG Ballard that I'm doing with Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. And this week is the first week of our 2-year journey through the short story. So we're going to read every single short story, but only one a week. So this week it's the first one, which is Prima Belladonna. It's quite short as well, but I'll be reading that today probably. So there is that. So what did I read? So I buddy read Assassin's Apprentice, which I buddy read with Dave and Joe, Dave from Book Blabber and Joe from Book Buds, and we talked about it in a live stream as well last week. And I know that Pat and I think Al from Big Hard Books and Classics, they're both reading this now, which is great. We are possibly going to read the second book in April. We've discussed it. We might do that. We're going to see how it goes. But if we can read it in April, we're going to read the second book then. But maybe later, I don't know, because obviously you can't necessarily make these things concrete all the time. But this was really good. I do think it's not the best thing I've read, so I don't think it's amazing, but I liked it. I think it's quite cozy. The conflict in it is resolved with, I don't know, almost like a mystical approach, and not like nasty bloodshed or whatever. So it's got that cozy element. Also, it's all sort of magic and not hand-to-hand fighting or whatever. So that kind of distances it a bit as well. The prose is brilliant, although there's not a lot of humour in it. I always like humour in books, especially fantasy, but there's not a lot of humour in it. Hold on. Yeah, so I did like it, and I do want to read more, and it could be Robin Hobb becomes a favourite author, but as a first book, it's really good. And I like the fact it was resolved properly as well. It wasn't like, oh, you need to read the second book. So that was good. So yeah, Assassin's Apprentice, good start. Very much like Robin Hood, and I like the fact that she's been recommended loads, and she definitely lived up to that. I also read a couple more stories in Swords Against Death, so I'm rereading the Swords books because I love them. And it was supposed to be a fancy February month, and looking at it, yeah, these are the two things I read for that. So I read some more of this book. It's the second book in the series. I've read them before, years ago, but I wanted to read them again, decades later. And I think they're brilliant. So I really love Fafhrd and Grey Mouser as characters. There they are. This is like proper seminal sword and sorcery. Fritz Leiber's, Fafhrd and Grey Mouser series. Swords Against Death, the second book. But it's a series of short stories. They're all short stories, all of the whole series. He never wrote a novel about Fafhrd and Grey Mouser, but he wrote 7 books, and they're all short stories. And I also read for Ben Reed's Good Challenge, the Good Read Challenge, I think it's called. Read Good Challenge, based on his channel name. It was read a book in February with fire on the cover. So I read Double Down. And actually, even though it looks like there's a bookmark in there, this is actually 2 books. So I felt like I did read a book, but this is like a compendium of 2 different books. So I can't remember what the book was called. It's a one-word title that references the aeroplane that's in the story, a flight or something. I don't know, but it was really good. It was about a hijack, and it set up 3 different stories at the beginning, and then they converge on this dramatic moment when the plane is hijacked. And it was interesting what Nolan, the Lee Van Cleef lookalike there, Lee Van Cleef's actually referenced in the text, which is quite funny. But this guy reacts to it in a way that his kind of companion, I won't tell you anymore, doesn't expect him to do it, and you're wondering how it's going to end, and it's done really well. And it's that classic thing with crime where the person that gets the money is not the person you expect. So yeah, I thought it was good. So I've got the other one to read. I will definitely read it, and that's the first thing I've read by Max Allan Collins as well. And obviously this hard case crime series, which I really like. So that was good. I didn't read Eyes of the Dragon. I've still got that to read, so I'm going to start that soon. Something else I didn't read. But something else I did read, which is really cool, was Sonny's Blues. So I got this at the library because I wanted to read Sonny's Blues. So Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads has mentioned this a few times, and it was fantastic. Absolutely amazing short story. I really loved it. So yeah, like he said, he rated that as one of the best short stories ever, and it's way up there for me. So I want to explore more short stories that are not science fiction short stories. So I've read mostly short stories that are either horror or science fiction. I've got some crime books of short stories, but if you want to recommend short stories in the comments, that'd be great. So that's what I've read. It's been a funny month. It's been very busy at work. I've had 2 student gigs, which made me just totally flat out exhausted. And now I'm a bit poorly, but this is just recent. So the first part of the month, it was just really hectic with work. And I think I've got a problem with, which is kind of linked to the Historathon thing, but it's linked to this as well. I've made the book club because I wanted to kind of coerce myself a little bit to read stuff I wanted to read. And I thought, if I do a book club, that'll do that. But then there's that thing that, if you're not going to read it naturally, is making a book club going to help? So it's good though, man. I read this many years ago, and I wanted to read it again, and I've got so far in, and I need to finish it. So yeah, that's a little bit of a funny thing with the. And to be fair, I didn't, even though I really liked it, I didn't finish this until halfway through the month. So I didn't have a lot of space after that to carry on reading anyway. This took me 2 weeks. There's some people on here that would rattle that through in 2 days. I'm not that guy. I have loads going on all the time. So there we are. Bit of a funny month, but some good stuff, and an announcement about leaving the Historathon, and an apology about my book club, which is stalled a little bit. But please keep your eye on it, because hopefully it will be something we can share together. And thanks for watching. Stay curious, everybody.